Presumptive presidential candidate Joe Biden continues to stumble when he's talking. Some think he's having a memory meltdown. One America's Richard Pollock sat down with a neurologist to take a closer look at Biden and his verbal mishaps.
Is it possible presumptive presidential candidate Joe Biden doesn't have memory problems at all, but instead suffers from a specific neurological deficit that affects his language? When he was in his 40s, Biden, then a U.S. Senator, had a brush with death when he suffered 2 separate cerebral aneurysms. Years later, Biden recalled the 1988 brain operations.
I had 2 cranial aneurysms, and they literally had to take the top of my head off. I mean, they take a saw and they cut your head off and go in to find the artery that is, one was leaking, the other that hadn't, before it burst.
They also found Biden suffered from a pulmonary embolism or a blockage of the artery. Here, a blood clot could potentially go to the brain. In 2008, the Obama campaign released Biden's medical history. It was 49 pages in length. The medical report has never been publicly released. Reporters were given a few hours to review it. But last December, the Biden campaign released even less, a brief 3-page medical summary. In contrast, when the late Senator John McCain was running for president, he released nearly 1,200 pages of medical records. One American News talked to Dr. Elizabeth Kamenar, a board-certified clinical neurologist. She says Biden does not suffer from memory problems, but from language deficits. She says the left side of the brain that controls language is also where Biden suffered his first aneurysm. One American News examined several Biden video clips with Dr. Kamenar. Here are her reactions.
I am very willing to let the American public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
He was trying to get out the word fitness, and he had trouble pronouncing what was otherwise a simple word. It's not a difficult word, and that is can be best described as a paraphasic error. It affects the language part of the brain, which is usually the dominant part of your brain on the left side.
Let's take a look at the second video.
Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
The whole thing from the Declaration of Independence, it's a common phrase, and he didn't remember all of it. He's word searching. He's having problems with finding words that he thinks he should know. He probably knew very well at one point in time, but now he's having trouble getting it out.
And now let's look at this video.
They don't increase their chances exponentially. Exponentially.
It's not like should be a difficult word that he wouldn't have command over. He's not saying something that is an exotic word, but he doesn't recognize that he's mispronouncing it.
Finally, let's take a look at this video.
You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party in Germany.
The closest thing he can think of was Margaret Thatcher, but obviously that was the wrong leader, which is kind of a serious thing to mess up if you're going to be a world leader. But again, it's kind of a word substitution, another paraphasia.
She says the public has the right to know the reason for Biden's apparent mishaps. The doctor urges the campaign to release cognitive test results and brain imaging such as CT scans or, if permitted, an MRI. For One American News, this is Richard Pollock from Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.